Now the Wargrave Challenge Cup, Thames Rowing Club B with Royal Chester Rowing Club.
These are the Wargrave matchups that we just love to see. Thames, like we mentioned before, always a very strong contender with multiple entries into the Wargrave Challenge Cup. But for Royal Chester, this race has a special meaning because it is the very first time in the history of their club that they've managed to qualify and go through a race at Henley Royal Regatta. They came 72nd at Women's 8 Head earlier this year. And so they're really proud to be racing down this track, making history for their club as we speak.
Yeah, here in front of us, Royal Chester Rowing Club, you can hear the coxswain saying, relax, to the crew. They need to stay composed here because it's been a really fast start from Thames Rowing Club. Bit of a steering correction being called there from the umpire, Gwyn Batten. At the front of the umpire's launch, you can see the white flag is out, signalling to the boat to move back onto their station.
Just from this overhead shot, you can just start to see the distance and the differences between the two crews in the way that they're rowing and the way that they're executing their race plan. Royal Chester still nice and punchy, a little bit higher on the stroke rate here. Thames are slowly starting to ease off and start to control this race from in the front. They've worked out their advantage to about 3 lengths. So that's quite a comfortable position to sit in and be able to respond to any pushes that your opposition will be trying to make to come back at you.
This Thames crew coached by Thomas Mapp. They're the winners of the B final at the Met Regatta on the Sunday.
This is their first race this week at the Henley Royal Regatta, and it's the very first Henley appearance also for the Cox and the 6th seat of that Thames crew. So welcome to Henley Racing, Phoebe Hayden and Alex Riddell. Great start from Royal Chester. Fantastic to see that club on the up and up in the northwest. It becomes a new hub of club rowing. We're speaking with their captain Nicholas Cerulus, and very often work with Royal Chester throughout the season. They are absolutely getting up for each Henley Regatta, and they do fancy themselves a win. Last year in the Britannia Challenge Cup, they made the first final in about 60 years. And I just know these athletes are very proud to be representing their region of England. First time also they've had more women than men entered and qualified for Henley Royal Regatta. So the club's going through an evolution of a sort as well.
And with the new women's events being added, and I think a very clear ambition from the stewards to see gender parity reached in the events on offer, what do you think that's doing for the rowing programs across the UK? Do you think that's having an impact on the participation and maybe the seriousness of how the programs have been treated? I mean, obviously women's rowing has a very strong tradition. Events like Women's Henley are incredibly prestigious, but is the addition of the events at Henley having an impact, do you think?
I think it has a massive impact. I think a lot of crews are opening up new boat categories that their athletes are able to compete in. Previously, when we didn't have the intermediate or the aspirational event at Henley, most women would train up to go up into the GB team or their international squad, and if they couldn't, well, there was just no event for them to race at. But now that Henley's introducing more and more of these events, the retention of the athletes that we're seeing from across programs, and as people move jobs across the country, I think it opens up so many more spots, and we get to see better, closer, more fulfilling racing here.
Yeah, absolutely. The quality of these women's fields, these women's events, incredibly high, and we've seen them absolutely embraced by clubs all around the world.
It's easier also to take another job and move up somewhere else in the country if you know that there is a rowing club where you'll be able to sign up onto a program that will eventually lead you down to Henley Royal Regatta. So I think that's hugely important, and big credit to the stewards and the regatta organisers for all the work they've done this year on linking up with all the clubs around the country and seeing how we can further improve the event.
Yeah, and that has been a really interesting exercise. As many people would know, the chairman, Richard Phelps, and Rod Murray led those club engagement sessions, not just with clubs in the UK, but also around the world as well, to collect their feedback on where they see the regatta headed into the future. And certainly an overwhelming feedback is the desire for gender parity.
I think they'll be achieved very soon.
Maybe next year. So. But we have confirmation there in the Wargrave. It was a commanding victory to Thames Rowing Club B over Royal Chester Rowing Club.